Hi, I'm Matt Lewis, and although I'm a medieval historian, I've had the pleasure of being a guest on Talking Tudors a couple of times, and I'm a long-time listener. So I'm delighted to be able to wish the podcast a very happy 4th birthday. Natalie asked me to think about why the Tudors have such a tight grip on our historical interest after 5 centuries and more. I've got to tell you, I frequently wonder about this because the medieval period is just so much more interesting and frankly better. But having said that, I think there are a number of reasons why the Tudors do manage to eclipse other dynasties and historical periods. In a century and a quarter, we just rattle through so much history, so much change, and so many massive personalities that it's like a historical pressure cooker. From the most unlikely king in British history in Henry VII to perhaps the most famous or infamous in Henry VIII, a boy king with big ideas raised a Protestant by a Catholic father who's denied time to deliver on his plans. Then there's Britain's first ever Queen Regnant, and after her there's Mary I. Yes, I'm having Jane Grey in there. Fighting for the throne is no longer the business of men, as Jane is ousted by Mary, who's in turn succeeded by a sister she dislikes. Religious debates make queens and ministers and then break them as quickly and easily. England searches for a way through Catholicism that's distinct from Rome, then jumps 2-footed into Protestantism, only to swing back to the Roman Catholic faith and then settle on a sort of moderate Protestantism. The kind of wrangling with faith that was going on throughout Europe at this time is played out in a microcosm in England, and it changes the face of a nation forever. Much of the history is also just so human. There's sibling rivalry, meteoric rises followed invariably by crashing falls, a supporting cast guaranteed Oscar nominations including Margaret Beaufort, Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, Thomas Cranmer, Thomas Cromwell, the Seymour brothers, William Cecil, Thomas Walsingham, I could go on. Religious upheaval and the birth of a civil service that define England and Britain for centuries to follow. It's an inexhaustible list that means however much you study the Tudors, there's always something new to learn. However many stories you uncover and however many rabbit holes you vanish down, there's always more waiting to grab you when you resurface. It's no wonder the Tudor era gives rise to someone like Shakespeare, surrounded by examples of almost every facet of what it is to be human, to love, to hate, to seek fame and vengeance. He just had so much material at his fingertips, crying out to be shaped by his quill into so many masterpieces. His inspiration then remains ours today. Perhaps one of the biggest reasons we remain obsessed with the Tudors is the same reason I'm doing this right now. People like Natalie and podcasts like Talking Tudors. Natalie works incredibly hard to bring all of us who listen to Talking Tudors the very best guests and the most fascinating stories. And sometimes me as well, but hey, nothing's perfect. You can pre-order Natalie's book, by the way, The Last Year of Anne Boleyn. Now that would be a perfect birthday present for the podcast and a great way to thank Natalie for her hard work, as well as indulging your own passion a little bit further. So, happy 4th birthday, Talking Tudors, and a big thank you to you, Natalie, for feeding the obsessions of all your listeners. I've no doubt the podcast will continue to go from strength to strength with someone so brimming with knowledge and dedication at the helm.